You're listening to Empire of Rust, the first and greatest Transformers RPG podcast. Join the heroes of Cybertron as the last vestiges of Starscream's war take them to the far-flung colonies to defend the planet from distant threats and protect the Cybertronian Republic from the shadow of the Harmonium.
Welcome back to Empire of Rust, the first and greatest Transformers RPG podcast. I love how I have like the cadence going for it again. It's like it's like coming home, you know? It's like coming home.
Nice.
I remember when we came back for season 3, I messed up the lines like twice in a row. Like, how the hell do I do this? I don't know how to podcast anymore. Not that I ever knew in the first place. Oh.
Wah, 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 wah.
All right, here we go. So I wanted to ask you guys a question today, and this kind of brings us back to kind of early Empire of Rust and early games too, from like anything that we've played. And I wanted to talk to you about your character concepts from inception. So when you sign up for a new campaign and you get together with people and you're like, all right, we're going to play this campaign. This is the setting. Here are some of the things that you need to know about it. You're kind of just left to your own devices to come up with your own concept. And you guys have all come up with fairly unique characters that have gone these 126 episodes now. So I wanted to ask you just how much of your character concept do you hold on to? Like how much things that you decide from inception do you say like, okay, this is 100% part of my character. I cannot, remove this, cannot get rid of it, can't anything, it can't evolve, can't change, versus how much of it is able to change, to evolve. Like how tightly do you hold on to those concepts? Matt and Pat, I'm going to bring this to you guys first because you've actually had like longer lasting characters in this campaign. But if you have an idea and it's not part of this campaign, feel free to share that one too. So,
before we get their answers, I have to correct you, Mike. We have had our characters going through 125 episodes because this episode has just started and it's no telling whether or not any of us are going to live.
That's fair.
You win the semantics point. Congratulations.
I can go. I've learned one thing I've learned about myself is that there's only so much I can decide in advance and really stick to. The character doesn't become the personality doesn't get fleshed out until I've actually played it for a while, and I don't really know exactly how that works because I start with an idea but it then molds to certain circumstances. So I guess it's changed over time, but I don't know. It's hard from inside to tell how much Magnum might have changed since episode 1. I did sort of hope for he's sort of like moral neutral, abrasive, and sort of grim in a sort of silly sort of way. And a lot of that's still there, but it wouldn't say he's smooth, but he does know how to get around communications.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say charm, but his version of it, maybe just lie cleverly.
I want to challenge you a little bit on it. And I think that when you started off, Magnum was like your primary character, and then like Pythagoras was just like a little add-on. But as the campaign's gone along, I think you've actually reversed that a little bit, whereas Pythagoras feels like more of a primary and Magnum feels like the extra.
Really?
I would tend to agree with that.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. That's news to me in a big way. Because Pythagoras is a lot more vanilla when it comes to personalities, in my opinion.
I think it's just because he does a lot more. Like Magnum does things, but
as far as capabilities go, Pythagoras is really top notch. So as we get into the higher level stuff, he starts to shine more.
Yeah.
Right.
Magnum only has skills and talking. That's what he's got. So if the situation doesn't account for that, yeah, you definitely, that's a good point. Pythagoras is going to do the action because neither of us are fighting so very well. So, and a lot of times Magnus is just sitting there protecting people or the best he can. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah. The scientist does have a lot of options, so I can see that happening. That's very revealing for me because it never occurred to me in the slightest.
How about you, Pat?
I feel that I've been largely pretty consistent. I mean, again, like,
Agreed.
If anything, I've become more accommodating in that, like, when it actually, like, push comes to shove, I'm always just like, I'm trying to not cause a scene and I'm trying to keep everybody alive. And and then it's like, if nobody reins me in, I'm going to do what I do. But like, Patrick wants us to survive. And a lot of times that doesn't necessarily, Carapace doesn't. Like, he doesn't care about that as much. I tend to be that kind of person that's just like, oh, we're playing a level 1 campaign. Okay, let me come up with my 20th level specs. Like, I do that. But then there's wiggle room. And, once I start playing it, you're just like, oh, like that feat path didn't really work out for me. Let me transition into something else,
Mm-hmm.
So you begin with the end in mind.
Yes. Yeah. And if anything, like I often get over the course of my gaming career, you want to call it, is I've had a lot of frustration is because I'm like, okay, once my character reaches level 9, what it's trying to do will finally start happening. And now I can play the character. And then the campaign ends at level 8. And then I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, so it's for me, the mechanics need to make sense or have to be believable in order for me to play the character. And that's my own issue thing. Like, I know, like, Rumi and Adam, neither of you guys have that problem. Like, you're just like, oh, I'm making a character and fuck the rules. Like, like I really struggle with that, and so it's just like, it's like, if I don't believe I can do it, then it's hard for me to bullshit that kind of stuff. And like, if anything, some of the characters I've been playing in other games recently, I've been like putting myself outside of my comfort zone, being like, oh, like I'm going to play somebody who has like a 26 bluff. And I'm like, I can't conceive of lies insane enough that you could tell regularly that someone with that skill level, like, they have, like, in the old days, it was like you can buy these diamonds for me. They're not stolen because I'm actually, I'm not a halfling. I'm a Lamassu polymorph. And like, you could trust a Lamassu. And like, and you're like, what? No one, that's fucking, and then you're like, oh, well, sorry, but I rolled a 37. So I guess they believe it. Like, and it's like, okay, that's absurd to me. So I guess like in other games, I think I tend to stay kind of on character concept because like I tend to have like a long-term goal in mind. I've definitely had times where it was like, oh, your character was possessed, and like mid-campaign, you're no longer a wizard, you're like a fighter that was like trapped in a book or something like that. And I've had a character become an abyssal lord, and like the transition from like ogre to demon, while like it was like, oh, they were still chaotic evil when it happened, but it was a very drastic change, like going from brute to tactician. It was like, oh, I don't see individual combat as a thing anymore. I see battlefields as individual things. Like, oh, 1 million demons were killed, and that was just a diversion for my real attack. And you're like, okay, that's a scale and a scope that, my naked ogre would never have conceived of.
I think it's pretty easy for you to stay on character and stay consistent when you do what you do, which is you begin with the end in mind. You already have your 20th level version of yourself figured out, and you're just trying to get there. So I think it's probably very easy for you to stay consistent with your role playing in your character development.
Yeah, like I put myself on rails just because it's.
I certainly noticed that you are probably the most consistent in terms of characterization from like beginning to now as well. So Yeah. And I hope you, I kind when I was putting everything together too, I hope you kind of realized, like, I knew that, it was going to be, like a max of level 15 in order to, for the game. So
Yep.
I'm hoping you took that into account too. It was like, oh, hey, this cool ability is coming up at level 16. Well, you're not going to see it. Sorry, dude.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
I've gotten better at it though. Like, it's like a thing that happens, like, with Mike is like, we do these things where we'll play a lot of other campaigns, and he's used this phrase on me several times where it's just like, oh, well, maybe we'll come back to this campaign. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're never going to do that. And I've accepted that now. Like, so it's just like, I'm not using my, my background brain chatter thinking about like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we actually brought these characters back?
You've begun to learn, like when he would always say to me when we went over to play at his house, and I'd be like, hey, is this new Coke or is this the old Coke I left here last month? He'd be like, I think that's a new one. It should be fine. I take one drink. I'm like, oh, God, it's so awful. It's so bad. And then leave another bottle there for next month. I go for it every time.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam?
I tend to create a character concept based on maybe around 5th level or so, in the way of Pat, where I have that goal in mind of what I want to do at around that level. And I'm okay with waiting through the levels to get there. But a lot of times when I've got the character concept down mechanically, to get the character realized, I work in a voice.
Okay.
And it's sort of like when an actor puts on makeup or gets into, an external garb, once they're in their costume and once they're in makeup, the character kind of reveals itself to them and they can internalize it that way. And I think that helps me a lot is by doing a different character voice for each character that I play. And then from there, I kind of see, well, how would they say this? And how would they react to this? And what would really surprise them? And what would be funny to say here? And a lot of times it's, jokes and stuff being worked in around the voice. But I think that's what happens. But with Sweet Spot, I base him off of the character Joshua Sweet from the Disney film Atlantis. Because he was a big, black, fast-talking southern drawl kind of guy. And I like that. And because this character was going to be Velocitronian, I was like, all right, so that character speaks very fast. So if I can emulate that as much as I can, I think that would play off well for a podcast.
Sure.
And I think it did really well in the beginning. But now I think about what I'm going to say a little bit more, and it slows down the speech pattern. But I think that's also how the character would have developed too, to be a little bit more careful about what he's doing and what he's saying and think things through before he acts.
Yeah, because I know, for me, I really struggle with voices. I can do a voice kind of if I have a script. But if I have to improvise and then react in full speed, I really, really struggle with that. Because I know when I first was writing this character, I tried to talk like the colonel from the guy in Akira. They don't teach tact in the academy. And it's just
yeah.
And there were a few episodes where I kind of did it, but but I couldn't be funny and do that, And so for me, it was switching is very difficult. It's something I've always admired about Adam. Is that
I agree with that. I mean, Magnum's the first voiced character I've done, really. And I think the only reason I managed to do him is because I disconnect. He has no filter, so it just goes right from stream of consciousness to brain, to mouth, So I don't have to maintain the persona as much.
And all you have to do is turn on the Batman voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just turn the Batman voice, and if he says something dumb, he just reverses it while he's talking. That's also where the bluff thing comes in. Just I found for bluff, you just take a pipe from the BS side of your brain and connect it to your mouth. And but it was interesting because what Pat and Adam described in both your current character and your ogre character, it's like it sounds like characters getting older like real people do.
Yeah.
As a warrior who lives long enough and is successful enough is gonna become a tactician, that sort of thing. And someone who values speed and talking may learn that, contemplation and taking it a little bit slower is useful,
It's like that saying, it's just like there are old cell swords and there are bold cell swords, but there are no old, bold cell swords.
Yeah. So our character growth is like a microcosm of personality growth because you start off with this concept and then actual experience shapes it to what it's a little bit more, I wouldn't say realistic, but where it sort of lands functionally. And a lot of times just creating the initial one for me, it's like, I have this concept. I want to sort of see if I could bend the rules enough to fit this thing in because it's fun,
How about you, Mike?
It really depends. A lot of times I'll have an idea, but it won't really come a full concept until a few levels. And then it just kind of evolves as I go along. A few times I've had the idea or the concept for the character from the start, and I've gone with it. I have another character, another game that I knew exactly who this character is from the start, and we haven't played too much with that one, but I don't plan on deviating much from that course. But a lot of other games, I do. I have a basic idea, and then as we go through, we just figure out who the character is.
All right.
I've always admired Mike for having a huge amount of personality, sometimes slightly below the surface of some characters, And if he's quiet for a while, you don't see it, but then all of a sudden, like, whatever you do see is gold,
Yeah, it is.
Like the time he just decided to talk an inanimate object, which is a door into opening,
Right. Well, yeah. Well, speaking of your characters here, you got something. You know what? I got no transition for that one.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, Mike. No.
All right.
No. You have to answer the question too.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You played some characters. Come on now.
Yeah.
Even if you want to bring up like some villains that we vanquished in the past year, how much have they differed from concept to what they became? Your own characters, villains, whatever. Answer the question.
Yeah,
I remember your Pitomancer, and then you were like, "Oh, this is really great." And then we reached like level 7, and everything could fly. And then you're like, "Fuck the Pitomancer now."
Pretty much. I was playing a sorcerer in a Pathfinder first edition campaign, and my concept for him was a battlefield control mage, and things like pits, walls, stuff like that. Stuff to a bit defensively focused and area control. And then we started finding like a bunch of stuff that was flying. Like everything was able to fly after a while, and it was just like, okay, I have all these spells, but they're not useful to me anymore. And so like I had to pivot my focus, and I pivoted to my little owl familiar, and the owl familiar became far more of a character than my actual sorcerer was.
What was the owl's name?
Owl Bear.
That's right. Why? Because it was an adorable little owl that could, deliver touch effect spells for you.
First time I did was a force push. It was through Owl Bear, and little owl just kind of flies right. Like I got fist-sized owl just flies at enemy and just like shoves him back like 30 feet. Hilarious.
Push giant holes in their chests.
Yep. Yep.
Push them right into the pit.
So I think to answer that, at least for this campaign, I think the side characters, it's not so much the villains, like Quick Switch and Starscream both started off, like I had a concept for them, and in terms of just consistency with the story, they had to stay, where they were. But the side characters really ended up becoming something unexpected. Like Legionnaire took on a far greater role and a far greater life than I ever expected.
I mean, he was our right hand, man.
yeah. And that was 100% because he just happened to be in the range when the Enigma combination went off. So it was just a happy accident.
Wolfang.
What's up?
Wolfang, like I can't believe what happened with Wolfang. Like that was.
Yep. Wolfang was no surprise. He was like, I had an idea for him to be just an NPC that kind of stuck around for a little while, just like a little foil to play off against you guys. But yeah, you didn't take the bait at all at the beginning to have him around. So I was like, all right, let's do something else with this guy. and yeah, he turned into this friggin' Cybertronian hero that everyone loved. Trying to think of any other characters that did that. I beta Beta Taurus would go that road, but never really came back. Never did.
I thought that was going to pan out a little bit more too. I was kind of hoping it would, but it's hard when you're dealing with villains as a GM, because you're basically building the villain at the level that they're going to be encountered at. They're not building to that. That's their end game. That's the last time, probably the first and last time that the PCs are ever going to see them or meet them, is during that final confrontation when they're revealed to be the big bad, and then they have to throw down with them. It's very rare that you find a villain that will have a repeat or recurring role as the villain and survive that long.
It's kind of like how Pat said, he looks at the end and then kind of like fills in from like end to beginning. He's got a line and then he fills that line in. That I think is the way it works with me for like the primary villains, but kind of like you and Matt, you introduce like the basic concept for a character that starts on one area. You just need an NPC for something, and then it's allowed to change, adjust, and grow as the campaign goes along. Speaking of campaign going on, we have to go on.
Yes, we do.
When last we left, you noticed that a ship was on an intercept course. You have a few minutes before the ship is going to get there. What do you want to do? Walk me through how you're going to deal with this.
Yeah, I will once again attempt to take some stealth measures to hide our presence, and also to change course so that if it is on an intercept course and able to follow us, we will be able to determine that right away.
All right, roll me up a stealth.
We don't happen to have that cloaking device that we installed in.
I was thinking that too. I can't remember if I had it or if we had to give it back or what.
I can use like my illusion thing. Like if we just like attach ourselves to an asteroid, I could just make us look like more rock.
All right. My stealth check is a 23. Fairly good at this ship, as it were.
Okay. You move along, and you notice that the ship alters course to follow you.
I think they might be onto us, fellas.
Well, that's unfortunate.
What were we going to say there, Megan?
I don't know. I was asking if we still had the cloaking device.
I'm pretty certain that Wheelie Jack threw one together for you for that one. So I don't think it was like a couple hour thing that it would last. But yeah, not not a permanent
I
thing.
remember there being like a timer on the thing.
All right. Let's see. Well, first, I think Carapace's idea is really good to make ourselves look like part of the rock. Can I whip up a little transponder with that sound that sort of, at least from a radio perspective, is like our ship? That mimics our ship?
Yeah, I want to say yeah. Go ahead and give me an engineering check.
I hope you're going to give him a bonus. I mean, Magnum has been my doctor for years now. He should be well versed in my workings.
Are you planning on just tossing it out the door?
Or shooting it out, yeah.
Or shooting it out? Okay.
If we get close to one of the asteroids, I could theoretically turn into a beetle and burrow into it, and we could like hide inside of like a crevice.
Yeah, he doesn't have to stay like the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we time it like that? For engineering, I got 38. Actually, they should be more than that. 45.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and toss something together real quick. It's not going to last for a long time, but it could last for enough to be a distraction to get you away from the immediate area. So yeah.
So, how about this, guys? Tell me what you think. It's like we shoot this thing out away from us, and at that same moment, Sweet Spot transforms, and then Carapace burrows in like it suggested, and we sort of hide inside the rock.
I think that's as good a plan as any.
Okay.
Why don't
Assuming we don't want to just introduce ourselves, but I don't know. I feel that would be tactically unwise at this point.
That is something I wanted to remind you about as well. Your goal here is to, do a threat assessment and make contact.
They are obviously an advanced civilization, a vast civilization.
I mean,
and
I guess this
therefore a
one
threat.
is, are they more advanced? Like, are we seeing technologies on here that are like, oh shit, like, wait, they're like teleporting. Like, what the fuck is, like, how are they?
They're using saw blades and cutting torches. I don't think they're more advanced than us.
And they also have like 20 or 30 space bridges. So,
I'll kind of roll over your checks from last time when you were examining the communications, and based on what you've seen and what you're hearing, you think that this civilization is advanced as Cybertron was at its height, like during its golden age.
Okay.
So during the era that, created space bridges, during the era that, where it was as close to an interstellar empire as it ever was going to be. That is where this place is now. So you don't think it's necessarily more advanced, but it's at Cybertron's height.
And Cybertron lost a lot of that because of the war, whereas here that didn't happen, so they were able to continue.
That's right.
That makes sense. Which means if we try to fool them, they might be able to see through it.
So here's an option. We could attempt communications, and if it turns out to go sour, I could try to get us away as far as possible, as fast as possible, and then we can enact the duck and cover, hide until they pass plan.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good idea.
Alrighty then.
They know we're here. We should try to communicate with them.
All right. I'm going to leave opening communications up to one of you while I try to navigate an escape path while you're chatting. So I'm going to use a piloting check during the initial encounter to plot an escape course if needed. Here is my piloting. That ought to do very nicely, I think. 42.
That is the answer to everything.
Highest roll possible.
can I do a quick mysticism or something to determine what would be an appropriate reading for a follower of Micronus?
Yeah, certainly.
Like Micronus's grand diminutiveness.
Can I assist with that?
Yes, you can. And Adam, you feel that you got feel you have a path that will kind of get you through some of those asteroids, maybe using that as cover as you're trying to fly away.
Did you ever just say whether or not they showed things like Decepticon and Autobot symbols?
I did not say, but you did ask, and I did answer you. So, yes. No, you clearly do not see any Autobot or Decepticon symbols.
Okay.
Matt, +8.
Yeah, I think I should have you do those rolls from now on there.
I would like to note for everyone that my first roll of the night was a 20.
Nice.
And Spendthrift's first roll of the night was also a 20 for mysticism. So I think we're off to a very, very... I said Spendthrift with a DR.
Sure you did.
Hey, I don't cheap out on my compliments, all right?
41, which all that 8 just took me up to Spindrift roll.
Yeah, maybe it is a good idea to have Spindrift do the mysticism from now on. What's your bonus there, Mike, for mysticism?
21.
And what's Magnum's? Or Pythagoras's?
My mysticism is also 21.
Yeah, so about the same.
Yeah.
Either or. You just happen to have the higher roll this time.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
One
All
might
right.
say it's up to a roll the dice.
What might wanted mass amounts of disapprovable.
Considering we're talking about mysticism, you sure have put a lot of faith in that joke.
Turns out my joke was an atheist. Such a
I'm a
shame.
humor
Pray for
agnostic.
you.
Should we tell them where we came from, and should we admit how we got here?
Yeah, we're here on a mission to recruit them, right?
I want to ask that of a sentence. Who are you and how did you get here? Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to let them know that they can just get back to us via the space bridge right off the top.
Probably.
Oh, maybe we don't
not
offer
until
that then.
Yeah, maybe we don't offer that information.
All right, open the channel then. Hail, Micronauts. Micronius. Hey, good day, fellowship. We have come in peace. How you doing?
Why is Sweet Spot not talking?
I was, during the opening, I said I was plotting an escape course for this first little bit of interaction. Tiny little bit. Then I'll be on board with it.
Oh, man.
This is Patrol Ship Aurora. State your name and identification.
Yes, my name is Magnum, excuse me.
He's lying. Shoot him.
Oh my God, they transform into lie detectors.
Hey, do you have hey, Sweet Spot, do you have a serial number? We'll have to get back to you on that. We're not sure. We're a private craft.
The registry numbers are zip, zoom.
All right. Yeah. Magnum, flying the USS Sweet Spot. And our zip zoom is our registration number. However, we are from outside the system, and we have come to extend the warm hand of friendship to your absolutely glorious civilization here. What might try to cope?
We do like
to-
your mining operation. It's very clean.
I'm also trying to think of like how a patrol ship would react to someone who just comes into their territory and says, "Yeah, if we're from outside the system." That's like someone like sailing into U.S. water and saying, "Yeah, we're not from this planet."
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, how they react will tell us what their general demeanor is, civilization-wide. Okay, they're not friendly.
All right.
This is Patrol Ship Aurora. Please restate your last transmission?
I don't remember what that was, but this is the USS Sweet Spot on an ambassadorial mission to extend, to open diplomatic relations to the glorious civilization that we see below us.
Magnum, I want you to make a quick perception check.
Didn't.
Just Magnum.
Didn't.
All right, that is a
Didn't.
43.
They are scanning you. Pretty much over every bandwidth you can imagine. So, they're just it's a little invasive if you're being honest.
I think my motor oil has been irradiated.
This is Magnum, you said?
Yes. Nice to meet you.
You're an ambassador? To whom?
We are representatives of Cybertron.
You just said you are on an ambassadorial mission. So if this is a consular ship, where is the ambassador?
I am right here. Thank you very much.
You're looking at him. He's not. The ambassador is the ship.
I am Sweet Spot, ambassador from Velocitron. Here on a diplomatic envoy mission to promote goodwill and opening negotiations for all sorts of trade and border crossings and such. Open borders, free trade, all of that.
And what system are you from? You flew here?
Well, yes, I did fly to the spot.
We didn't pick you up on sensors entering the system.
We came from right over there.
And where are you pointing to?
I'm not pointing anywhere. I don't have my arms yet.
Ambassador Sweet Spot. If that is your real name,
why would it
You're
not?
not any mercy mission this time.
identify where you came from.
Well, originally I came from Velocitron. I said I was a Velocitronian ambassador, did I not?
Indeed you did. Did you fly here from Velocitron?
I did get here from Velocitron. Now, I would like to speak with someone with a little bit more authority to open up diplomatic relations and negotiations. No offense, my good sir.
I assume you can provide us with some proof that you are who you say you are.
If you haven't already figured that out from scanning me, that I am not a citizen of the local establishments, then yes.
Please hold.
I'm actually going to put our comms on hold. I'll say, Magnum, do you have a way of validating that I'm a Velocitronian? Besides actually taking me apart and examining my innards.
I have documents on all of you.
So yeah, he puts you on hold for a second, and actually both Magnum and Sweet Spot, both of you can make a perception check, or you can aid each other, whichever you.
Are you scanning them? I want to hear their internal conversation.
They're not going for it. What am I doing? Perception?
Yep.
Yeah, aid me in perception.
This is most likely going to be an aid for you. I got a 22. 22 for perception. Thank you. Thank you very much.
46 perception.
You can tell that there is comm traffic going back and forth between that ship and one of the stations in lower orbit. And while it's a little soon for you to be able to crack their encryption, I think you can kind of tell that he's probably communicating back and forth between him and his superiors.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you want to wait?
Well, we'll wait till he gets back to us. I mean,
Okay.
Is there a way that you can kind of keep a sensor eye on their weapon system if it starts to get hot? I want to know so I can get out of here.
Yeah, since we're here, we can scan them now. We're not trying to hide anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say after 10 minutes or so, we should probably communicate them and get a little annoyed. We came all this way to communicate with them and see if they can speed things up.
All right, that's a good point.
All right, so you said you wanted to... So before we get to that point, you said you wanted to do a scan there?
Their ship, yes.
Pythagoras?
Just perception?
Yeah, it's perception.
Hit the switch, center console. Oh, no, wait, that's the jam then.
I would say no on computers for this one, because you're not trying to, like, break into anything. You're just trying to, like, see what they have.
Okay.
That's my perception of that.
Yeah, you are always right in this circumstance.
36.
36. Okay. So it is a patrol craft. Certainly, it does have weapons, and I don't have like actual weapon stats for you for starships or anything like that. But it does have 2 forward-facing starship weapons. And it looks like the engines on this thing are built for speed, so it would kind of fits for a patrol craft. It's armed, not heavily armed. It is very, very fast though. It does have though a couple of devices that seem to be kind of capture devices. So it has a tractor beam. It has like electromagnetic pulling beam to it. There's some physical grapplers to it, like grappling like effectively like harpoons on cables. That they can spear something and hold it in place. So you would think that the ship is more an interdictor, like more a patrol craft, like find someone and catch them, versus something like a warship.
Do we have a range on those weapons?
They're significant. It's good. You think that if you took a direct hit from those, they would be very, very damaging. You might survive 1 or 2 hits, but you don't want to get hit by those.
All right. Well.
There are 4 crew members on board as well.
Okay.
How large are they?
About 3 times as big as Sweet Spot.
So you mean the ship?
Right. No, the crew are?
No, but that'd be pretty awesome.
Oh, you're just talking about the ship. All right.
No, they seem to be of comparable size to you guys. Some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller, but they don't seem to be Micromasters.
Okay, we can take them.
Some minutes go by, and eventually 10 minutes go by, nothing happens. Magnum, you can still see communications going back and forth. Not only that, but since you're kind of focusing your scans on this one, since you got so high on it, you can tell that communications went to the station, and now communications are going from the station to someplace on the planet's surface, and you can follow the chain as it goes back and forth on this. Eventually, the spot on the surface that's receiving these comms communicates directly with the ship in front of you.
All right. Well, we had our 10 minutes, so.
All right.
I will hail.
Yep, gonna hail them. What did they say the name of their ship was?
Aurora.
I will hail the Aurora.
USS Sweet Spot, do not deviate from your present position. We are communicating with our diplomatic wing. We'll see what we can do for you in just a moment. Continue to stand by.
Could you please inform us as to how long this wait should be taking? I mean, really?
Sweet Spot. You're important. Come on.
It takes as long as it takes, Sweet Spot.
I do not approve of the methods in which you welcome visitors, especially those offering peace.
Yeah, they don't respond to that. A few more minutes pass when they will contact you again or contact you back. Do you want to answer them?
No. Still no. Nope.
They're scanning you again.
Okay.
Yes.
USS Sweet Spot. Is something wrong with your communications array?
I was just wondering the same thing about you, but we are fine. Are yours working all right?
I feel so bad for this captain too. Trained his entire life, got assigned to his own ship, a patrol ship. He's just building up his career. It's like, all right, the next thing is like a frigate, and then a warship. It's like, all right, yeah, we're gonna get this. And what's he get for his first contact? You guys.
Hey, calm down, or I'll stick Magnum on you. And you do not want to have a conversation for very long there.
USS Sweet Spot. We are transmitting a flight path to you. Please confirm you've received it.
Magnum, you want to check that out? Where does that take us?
What does it look like?
So it heads directly towards the station that they're communicating with, but then it kind of veers to the side and sets down on a spaceport on the planet.
Does it look like a commercial spaceport? Can we tell?
That's a good question. Give me a perception check. It is quite a distance, and you're not, you don't know much about the planet just yet.
All right, so perception is, where's my perception? 33. Yeah, 33 for perception.
I got a 25.
Those are both good rolls, but I'm going to say you don't know, just because, again, the distance, and you don't know enough about the planet just yet.
I can see my future prison cell from here.
Yep.
We able to see? I just rolled a 32. I was just like, I wonder if I could actually contribute to something, but
Yeah, same thing. It's like
Okay.
you can see the path goes to where they say it goes, but you just can't tell.
All right. Attention, Aurora. We have received and confirmed the coordinates you would like us to proceed to. Shall you be escorting us, or are we free to depart and arrive when we get there?
We will be escorting you.
How very diplomatic of you. Lead the way.
And they will tell you to maintain a certain distance from them and the Aurora. And yeah, as long as you follow them, they will lead you right along the exact path that they showed.
Magnum, as we're going along, see if you can see if any other ships are powering up or moving into position.
Gotcha.
That's pretty prescient, because that's exactly what I was going to tell you guys. So because of those good perception checks, I will give you that as you are heading towards the station, you can tell that a few other patrol ships are heading towards you on intercept courses, and as they get closer, you can see that they veer into an escort position around all of you.
Okay.
That's all right.
As long as they're not powering up weapons. Oh, yeah, by the way, they're powering up weapons. Son of a bitch!
Their shields are up, but their weapons are forward. Actually, let me phrase that. Their shields are up and their weapons are powered. However, they are actually in front of you, facing forward. So you're not in any danger of being hit by them right now, but should they need to, they can flip around real quick, and their weapons are powered and ready to go.
I wonder if there's some sort of internal hostility going on, like infighting or faction fighting, that they're now protecting us from.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is pretty normal, but it could
I mean,
be.
you literally said lead the way.
So, yeah. I mean, there's nothing abnormal about this. Matter of fact, if it's diplomatic, then we probably should be getting multiple ships.
I approve.
We just gotta paint "We love Micronus" on our chests or something like that. The little Micronus flag.
Paint your own chest.
By the time you get near the station, 5 ships are around you. You don't see any more coming in, but it looks like those were the ones that were nearby the flight path. So, those are the ones that joined you. As you're heading past the station, you'll notice that the one that they were communicating with is a massive station, probably the size of Iacon City. So it's pretty massive. And just a quick cursory scan will tell you that there are, lots of weapons on that thing, which kind of makes sense because it does feel like a defense platform more than anything else. And
Question?
Go for it.
Is this planet larger than Cybertron?
Yes.
Okay.
Cybertron is actually fairly small when compared to general planetary size.
Okay.
It's about like a third of the size of Earth.
Okay.
But it's like multiple layers inside, so
Right.
can fit a lot more. But yeah, just in terms of size, it's small. This planet would be roughly the size of an Earth.
Okay.
Doing anything or just continuing following the path?
Continue following the path.
As you pass by the station also scans you, and you feel it is a just as thorough as the one that the patrol ship did. You get that if you're like, pretty much anything that you have on there in the ship, like they would know about it now, just because it's again pretty high powered, pretty invasive scan. You continue down through the atmosphere. And again, just like the Coruscant analogy really, really holds true here. It is just a massive, massive planet, or massive civilization on this planet. And you can see industrial areas, like commercial districts. You see these towers that just, rise to the sky, like 40, 50, 60-foot towers easily. And some that are even bigger. And these are not just, skyscrapers. These are entire, complex structures.
60 feet?
Stories. I'm sorry. Stories.
Oh,
Did I say feet?
Yeah. I was just like,
They are microbots, so.
yeah.
But yes, very, very built up. You can, as you're passing through some of these sections, you can see the layers kind of going in. So it's been built up over time. Just a huge, huge amount of just stuff there.
So it is 60 stories, not feet.
Correct.
But
It is 60 stories.
But they're short stories.
2-foot stories. As you are getting close to the landing zone, you can see that there are other more heavily armed ships around. So to kind of answer your question from before, it looks like it's going into either a military or a government facility. So it definitely does not appear to be a common commercial spaceport.
Okay.
Still gonna keep on going?
Judging from what we know of their culture so far, from the limited, peaks that we've had, would we say that the structures around the landing zone, are those more military structures by architectural design, or are they more business-like and diplomatic or government buildings that are not having to do with the military?
I would say more militarily designed. To put it to an analogy for us, it feels like you're landing on an army base.
Which
Still
is what
not,
they would
not a
do.
big surprise. Yeah, not a
this
surprise.
is not weird.
They're a marshal.
So there's no Holiday Inn around here.
Correct. But there is a Holiday Inn Express.
I can see
Thank you, Holiday Inn Express. We'll take our paychecks now.
This is a military theocracy. I mean, everything is going to be interblended. There's not going to be any variation. The first person you're going to be meeting is a priest or a general. It's just like...
And sometimes it could be both.
Yeah.
A Prenrel. Or a Jeese.
A Jeese.
Hello, your Prenrel ship.
Nice. Okay. Magnum, assuming that you are continuing to do scans with a Sweet Spot's help, of course, you can You can see that there are no other ships in the area as you are coming for a landing. And as you got close to the base, it looks like all of the air traffic that was there has either landed or kind of has left the area.
All right, so when we land here, fellas, you are all going to form a circle or defensive perimeter around me when I let you out and then transform. I think that would be the best way to assure that we keep our weapons on us, is to classify you as a personal bodyguard when I'm traveling abroad.
There, you got it.
I'm standing in the front. That's all I care. I'm like, if you guys want to make a circle behind me, fine. I'm the front of the circle.
You won't be able to see him with you standing there.
That'll work.
Okay. You come in, sweet spot.
I come down, I'll hover about 5 feet above the ground. Everyone will jump out one at a time, military style, boom, boom, boom. And then in midair, I'll transform and land. Center circle.
You should have warned us.
We all fall on the ground. We're not impressing them.
Sweet spot.
So much for awing them.
The three of you get out. Sweet spot, you transform. Who's first out? Carapace?
Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You land on the ground heavy. Look to the north, and you can see where you landed. It's the landing pad itself is like a circular pad, and there's a not quite a bridge, but an elevated walkway to go from that to the buildings to the north.
Yeah. Almost just like using this same map a second time.
And as you're coming in, Carapace, you're the first to notice this. So you see 3 bots ahead of a group of soldiers, 8 soldiers behind. So there's one bot up in the lead, 2 flanking that bot, group of 8 soldiers behind.
Okay.
Their weapons are drawn. They're not pointed towards you, but they're pointed at the ground.
Yeah.
And you can see that they are walking towards you.
How's their trigger discipline?
Oh, very good. It's like they're pointing, it's out, but they're pointing down.
Good.
Ready.
That's telling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So the 3 of them will walk up to you. I am General Libra of the Harmonium. To whom do I have the honor of addressing?
I will wait for Carapace to give the all clear.
I mean, I'll nod and kind of look over your shoulder. They can look over my shoulder.
I will then step slightly to the right so that I am visible, but still not ahead of Carapace. I am Ambassador Sweet Spot of Velocitron. This is my delegation. Carapace, head of security, right in front of me. This is my house detective, Magnum. My master at mysticism, the spin grid. Yep, I almost did it.
Yep.
He will approach you, Sweet Spot, if you let him, Carapace.
Yeah.
And he will extend a hand and say, "Welcome to the Harmonium. And we'll see you next time."
Shake, shake, shake.
Yes! Shake that booty! Shake that booty!
We have many questions for you.
The next episode is going to start out 5 minutes later. We're all in a fight.
From the Secret Files of Teletran 1, Empire of Rust is written in GM by Michael Ordway. Detective Magnum and his partner Pythagoras are played by Matthew G. Ambassador Sweetspot, Councilman of Velocitron, is played by Adam H.U. The Decepticon Target Master, Wildstrike, and his partner Nico are played by Mike M. And Carapace, the Beast Warrior of Primitive Eucharist, is played by Patrick Finn. Additional characters are played by Michael Ordway, Brandon Ouellette, and Charlotte Chapman. Outro narration by Derek Bixby. Empire of Rust is supported by the humans and networks of planet Earth, whose online networks provide access to libraries of sound effects and music such as Storyblocks, Zasplat, Blue Zone, Pixabay, Paper Yellow Music, and Dark Fantasy Studios. We are distributed by the Transmissions Podcast Network. Stay up to date with all the latest news and reviews in the world of the Transformers by going to transmissionspodcast.com or searching the Transmissions wherever you get podcasts. You can communicate with the heroes of Cybertron by joining us on the Transmissions Discord channel. There you can discuss episodes, talk to the cast, and download the rule set used in Empire of Rust. Teletran 1, signing off.